Welcome, everybody. We have the Monday, the 21st, and we are the Digital Climax Kings here today to bring you some news, updates, and things that affect you from around the world. I'm joined today with Digital Prophets, and I am the Dead On Leprechaun. We welcome you. We're happy that you joined us today. We know your time is valuable, so we're going to jump right in. Jeremy, take us away.
Dead on, Leprechaun. How you doing today, my man?
Fabulous for a Monday.
Awesome. I'm gonna share my screen real quick. I just wanted to bring this website to everybody's attention. Um, can you get my screen on there?
It should be up.
I see yours. It says Tablet Hotels or
Um,
something. Maybe I gotta. Hmm. Okay,
there it
there it
is.
is. There it is. So check this out. This is a website that our friend and informant Agent X was sharing with me earlier. His Canadian Slavic buddy set it up. He lives up in Canada, but he's from like the region, and it's all about like, I guess, like a job board for Ukrainians, which is ironic because of all the action that's going on over there. So I thought it'd be really cool if maybe we could do something, not us as the show, but me and some of my guys could do something for this guy and maybe see where it goes. So I just definitely wanted to make a mention. This is all still fresh. He shared this with me a couple hours ago. But there's a lot. I mean, the way the world's going right now, especially with the NFT technology and little things like this, is all it takes, I'm realizing, to unite a whole bunch of people that live all over the planet. That's what I'm seeing in the NFT sphere. But then when you look on the, mainstream media, you see the same type of stuff, but it's like more bent on fear and war, but it's rallying different causes. This is a good one. Hire a Ukrainian. The women are beautiful. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's something that we can do, especially with a platform like this, to like just drum up support for certain things that we think would be, kosher. I don't want to fund the wrong parties, whatever that might be, but so I wanted to share that, and then I wanted to share another pretty interesting thing on the tech side of stuff. This is I'm thinking of a way to incorporate it into what we're doing, and it's a method of streaming money, if you can wrap your head around that. I'm trying to share the screen at the moment, so give me 1 second. I've got too many windows open. This, what it does is it allows us, allows anybody to create, like, let's say an NFT, and then we set up a stream of cash that just flows to whoever's holding that NFT. And what they're calling this is just a little tutorial app. They call it the Holy Grail. So if the NFT is transferred to a new owner, all token flows are redirected to the new owner. We will call the app Holy Grail, since whoever is in possession of the NFT is blessed with great power. Now, I don't want to get in too deep on explaining this stuff, Leprechaun, but the point I'm trying to make with this is that the technology that is being developed as we speak is rolling out in real time that we can then apply to platforms that we all work with, share with, and collaborate on. And I find it amazing, and I'm still trying to figure out ways to implement it and articulate it in a more understandable way. So bear with me. It'll be a little choppy for a couple months, but I think we'll get it, refined. I think that's all I got to say about that. It's all you.
Yeah. So, quick question on this. So, is there an example that you can give or explain, like of an NFT that is currently receiving this cash flow, like, and how it's doing?
I cannot, because to my understanding, this protocol is brand new. They do have examples out. I have yet to investigate further because this is still fresh to me. I'm still trying to digest what it actually completely does, what we're able to build with it, because it is just like if I was going to remodel your bathroom, there's a lot of different materials and tools I could use to do that job. Now, that's what this super fluid is, a protocol that will give us the tools to do amazing things using streaming technology, using NFT technology, crypto, blockchain, all that combined with the internet, which puts us on a global scale. I'm very excited.
Interesting. Well, yeah, we'll have to follow up with that because I think that there's definitely a need for people, especially in some of those fields like construction, to get with the times.
Yes, I think further down the road we could set up like maybe little tech shops or something where we could do walkthroughs, because I've had a vision of being a plumber where you could just put on like some AR goggles or like some Snapchat glasses, look at a wall, and I could see where the pipes need to go, because that's always, the hardest part of the job is just finding the pathways. This would eliminate so much work, and there's a million other ways we could spin off this technology that's now freely available.
Wow. Well, that's pretty cool. I can't wait to hear more about it later. Do you have anything else to add, or should we jump back into the news?
Yeah, let's jump into what you got. Like I said, my brain's still trying to process all this. I think I shared plenty. Hopefully I'm not leaving too much confusion out there, because I still, like I said, have a hard time understanding. A lot of people don't even know what an NFT is. So we'll get to that later. I'm excited at the same time. I think it is important to teach people what this stuff is, because if you haven't noticed, gas is going up.
A little. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. It's only double.
I stopped following it.
It's kind of depressing. I don't blame you for not wanting to see.
Well,
all
right, Leprechaun, what's going on in this crazy world of ours that I'm trying to ignore right now because I want to focus on tech?
So it was a pretty crazy weekend, and without getting back into everything, I am going to see if I can share my screen here. And so I wanted to talk a little bit about the Russia-Ukraine stuff. Again, so much happened over the weekend that I don't want to catch up on all of that, but rather focus on this story about these residents who are now being deported to Russia as Ukrainian city handed an ultimatum, essentially. So what happened is now they've set up areas that are under Russian control, and I guess they are starting to deport people from Ukraine to Russia. And we don't know exactly what that's going to look like, if these are going to be like the camps that everyone's so afraid of that Ukraine has a history with. So I think it's making people really uncomfortable because they don't know if they're truly camps or if these are essentially POWs that are going to be exchanged or used as hostages. So it'd be interesting to see what Russia's end goal with this is. But going into the article, Russian atrocities in the southern port city that were pledging that President Vladimir Putin would be held to account. She tweeted, "I'm appalled that Russian atrocities in Mariupol, including attacks on schools sheltering civilians and the abduction and deportation of Ukrainians. Putin is resorting to desperate measures and he is not achieving his objectives." I don't know if I would completely agree with that, but we'll go on here. Putin and his regime will be held to account. Ukrainian MP Ayana Sovsun said according to the information being shared by the city's authorities, her countrymen and women were effectively being forced into slave labor. So it sounds like labor camps, very similar to what the Uyghurs go through in China, that everybody has been kind of up in arms about. At the Olympics, there was a little bit of talked about that, but she told the Times Radio that their very logic of Russia right now is the logic of the Soviet Union and the logic of Nazi Germany. And the part about that is so terrifying to me is whenever the world has labeled somebody the other, especially when that other is specifically Nazis, we've seen some pretty terrible atrocities committed in the name of peace, and it's going to be an interesting road ahead, to say the least. It's completely totalitarian state and is acting as one. So, from what we know, the city mayor and the city council is that they are taking Ukrainian citizens. There's a tweet that kind of explains their positions, but this is a look at one of the buildings that was bombed over the weekend, and they're still looking for survivors. But Russia is absolutely winning this war without a doubt, in my mind. Now, the mainstream news seems to be pushing the fact that Russia basically doesn't know what they're doing, that they have a stalled convoy, that things aren't going as planned. And I think I would respectfully disagree.
Yeah, I'm seeing an overwhelming amount of that, and that kind of points to the opposite, like you just mentioned.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see Russia losing. I see maybe that they are delayed and things are taking longer than they expected, but I don't think that this is what Russia losing looks like.
Yeah, I mean, dude, after I listened to that Putin speech on Friday, and when you actually listen to the words he's saying and the way he holds himself, and then you look at like our leaders and the clips that are being pushed to us, it's like a total joke. Like something is not right with our leadership, but their leadership, they sound and act like real leaders over there, and that has me terrified.
Yeah. Well, and I think that I hate the comparison to Nazi Germany, but I think that if you look and actually examine, the fact that Putin is a lot smarter than Hitler was, he's a lot more sane, even though he may not be what we would consider normal. I think that he's a lot smarter than people are giving him credit for.
Okay, so what's going on with uh, our president going over there? Where's he going? He's going to the UK like immediately, right?
Yeah, he's going over there to try to drum up support for the sanctions, and I'm sure to get more
Okay.
assets delivered to Ukraine to fight Russia. But at the same time, I wanted to mention this other story here. So there is, let me see if I can pull up this screen. Here's a story about American citizens, and I guess people from all over, probably NATO countries, are now jumping into the fray and trying to fight as mercenaries over in Ukraine. So here's a story from, I believe it is the Washington Post. No gun, no helmet, no action. The frustrations of some novice Americans who signed up to fight in Ukraine. Kyiv, Ukraine. Before he decided to buy a one-way ticket to Ukraine, Adam worked two jobs as a security guard and a cashier at a dollar store. He owned guns and fired them at shooting ranges, but the only fighting he'd ever done was mixed martial arts classes. That didn't stop the tall, lanky 24-year-old from Thousand Oaks, Los Angeles suburb, from flying to this war-torn capital earlier this month. He joined a new international legion set up to fight Russian forces about 15 miles outside the city. Adam, sporting camouflage pants, is eviscerated by his inexperience in combat, or unfazed rather by his inexperience in combat. He will rely, he said, on sheer determination to save Ukraine and protect American values. And what I find so incredibly interesting about this article is I don't know what is telling people that they are going to be able to pick up arms and go over to a foreign country that they don't live in. They don't understand the culture. And as far as I know, Russia is treating all people that are fighting against them that are not Ukrainians as hostiles, but not as war criminals. They're essentially like war criminals. It's a little unclear as to how they're going to be treated, but they're certainly not going to be taking Americans as POWs. So I think that they would just be, essentially exterminated if they're caught.
Ooh, wow. I didn't even think about that. What happens if a U.S. civilian joins this, gets killed? Wow, that is intense. See, there's so much going on over there that is so shady to me. Like, how can anybody think this is like, I don't know. I don't know anymore, Leprechaun. All I know is the Russians know what they've been in the empire game a lot longer than little baby USA. We're still kids. We're like going to be 250 years old. That's nothing on a timeline.
You're not
of
wrong.
empires. These people have faced a lot of things. So, um, did you want to add to that? I wanted to ask you again about the fertilizer coming out of Russia. I've heard it's going to cause a 90-day, like we have a 90-day food.
Real quick, before we jump into that, I just wanted to outline two other things in this
Oh,
article.
sorry. Go for it.
So
Yeah.
going back to the mentality of the people that are going over there, I kind of highlighted it on your screen too there. But essentially, I wanted to read this part here at least. I've been a hunter all my life, Brian said. I got assigned to a sniper team here. I'm going to kill every Russian I can, he said, using an expletive to describe Russians. Never killed a man in my life, but I'm going to enjoy it.
What the heck? That is savage. That is not like a proper mental state.
No, people think that they're going over to play, Call of Duty IRL. I mean, it is.
Ooh, you know what? I've been preaching this for like a decade. I'm like, they're training the kids. They're training the kids for war. But then I'd play Call of Duty, and then get
Right.
lit up by the kids.
Well, as crazy as it is, though, I mean, I see this as a prelude to what's coming, which I think is going to be boots on the ground. Like there's a lot of people here that just want to see dead Russians, and they don't know why, because the media told them, I guess, or because their party says that, hey, we're for this war, so you've been given the go-ahead to not act like a human being that has morals anymore, and you're going to kill Russians like you'd kill a rodent. And
wow,
dude,
wow.
I think this is just a turning point. Like you're going to see a lot more of this. And when he gets blown up on the battlefield and his buddies hear about it and he can't come home and post all his pictures on Reddit, like it's so crazy to me that you would think, yeah, I'm going to go over and get involved in somebody else's war in a country where I don't know how to speak Ukrainian or Russian or anything else. So if you're caught, you won't even know what they're saying. I mean, and the Russians are not stupid. They can tell if you're an American or not because they're dressed differently than the Ukrainian military. So I just think that it's like deleting yourself. It's like Control-Alt deleting yourself by going over there right now.
Ooh, that's a good way to put it. Deleting yourself.
Maybe people think that, another country is worth dying for, but I would think.
Well, I mean, people are so easily emotionally programmed these days. I heard it said by Klaus Schwab that if you stress a human enough, get them to do anything. And we have been put under such stressful conditions since I was born, really. Once I was born, Mount St. Helens blew up, got married, 9/11 happened, boom. So, yeah, stress is just part of our programming regimen. I wanted to say this. This gave me chills. I follow this very beautiful Russian on Instagram, and she posts pictures of herself, but then she'll post like an entire paragraph, and it's always deep thoughts. So I hit the translate button and I read it, and she said something the other day about they will remember that the USSR was never traitors, something along those lines. Ooh. Like in the end, it will be revealed that they weren't the traitors. Somebody's the traitor, and they all know it. And I think it might be us, and that the whole world is going to be looking at us like, payback time. I'm just saying, not trying to cast the fear, but trying to prepare for what could be coming our way. A tsunami of hatred. You know what I mean? Like, everybody loves America from my perspective because that's what we're told. I don't know if that's true.
Well, the other thing that's terrifying about this is now that you have Americans going over there to fight in this war, choosing a side, what's to stop Russians from coming up through the largely open southern border and creating a terror cell here in the United States and doing some attacks that would make 9/11 look like a walk in the park playground type stuff?
Well, I have some very bad news for you, Leprechaun. The Russians are thoroughly established. I know for a fact in Northern California. There's certain parts of Mendocino County you only go to if you're Russian and if you're part of the club. Otherwise, you stay away. People disappear. It's Colombia over there. People don't know this. I know it because I've been there. Been there. Seen it with me bloody eyes there, mate. There's dragons down there.
Yeah, and slaying a dragon is not as easy as it sounds.
Oh, yeah. See, we got this false bravado and confidence built up through the media and video games. And yeah, I think these guys that you were sharing about, when they get out there, they're going to be like my buddies I went to high school with that went to Iraq and Afghanistan. They are mentally messed up, a lot of them. They're on all kinds of medications. They're crazy. They saw things you shouldn't want to see, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But
it's terrifying. Yeah, it's terrifying. But unfortunately, some people have to see it to believe it. So maybe that's what we're getting, is that they want to see blown up body parts and they want to feel this war. You know, like, it's super weird that people would willingly give up their life for what a bunch of politicians say is a just war, when, you know, it's just, how long ago were we talking about, you know, the Black Lives Matter and the reparations and all the things that they wanted? Like, and I just think it's really interesting. It'd be cool to talk to Agent about this, but, you know, like, what his feelings are towards, you know, being, you know, if we do get into a larger war, you know, what would that, the African American, you know, and the Black populations, how would they feel about being drafted in this? You know, and like, if there are truly Nazis over there in Ukraine and you're going to go defend the Nazis, that's some crazy stuff to me.
Okay, you're opening up some questions I didn't have prior to what you just said. Wow. So see how divided we were in, what was it, 2019? And then they like locked us down. So it was like stress on top of stress. And now this is happening. So they got us freaking out about the high gas prices and the high cost of food. And then it's just going to take like something. See, like the George Floyd was what do you call it? It was a fuse, right?
For sure.
I mean, that went global, that movement. But now we are being so programmed with this hate for Russian, like you were saying. There's got to be a bigger plot that we might be able to like help call out. You know, that's what I want to do with this time and with this little show is, you know, kind of bring awareness to what's really happening, if there's a way to find that out. And, you know, talk about the tech, I want to talk more about gardening. I think that's going to be very important. Like every episode, we should have like a gardening segment, because people are going, the whole world's about to be very hungry because of all these sanctions. I'm not listening to conspiracy theorists when I'm listening to economic news. I'm listening to, you know, the Bloombergs and the markets. Numbers don't lie. You can lie about the numbers, but we'll see in the end, you know, what's
well,
true.
Like you said, you can't say that math isn't true. I mean, like, you can argue that you don't like the numbers that come out, but if you don't have enough, you know, materials, fertilizer, whatever the thing is that we're going to be, all the things that we're low on. I mean, like you said, it's not a he said, she said, what's going to happen. It's a straight up math. This is a definite thing that, you know, the United States is going to have breadlines here again. You know, if
I want to ask you real quick, we've got about 7 minutes. Did you hear what Saudi Arabia just said? I was just reading about it right before the show. The verbiage was creepy.
I didn't catch that whole update.
Let me find, I think he was on the Fox News website. Let me pull up. I haven't gone to Fox News forever, but lately I've been going to all of them, like CNN, Fox, everything, just to see what types of bullshit stuff, you know, crap they're saying. Okay, yeah. So check this out. It's not up. There it is. Crude wake-up call. Saudi Arabia said on Monday that it won't bear any responsibility for a shortage in Did you hear that?
Yeah, there's something playing in the background.
Yeah, it's the stupid pop-up.
It's all good.
Okay, anyways, it says Saudi Arabia said on Monday that it won't bear any responsibility for a shortage in global oil supplies after a fierce barrage of attacks by Yemen's Houthi rebels affected production in the kingdom, the world's largest oil exporter. The unusually stark warning marked a departure from the giant oil producers' typically cautious statements, as Saudi officials remain aware that even their smallest comments can swing the price of oil and rattle global markets. Doesn't that sound a little
It's a bit ominous.
nail biting? They're kind of saying, hey, they're gonna put the stops on some oil production, or they already did.
Well, and the other thing too is that the media is still protecting, the Biden administration largely by allowing them to keep blaming Putin and this Russia Ukraine thing, when the reality is that gas prices and energy has been an issue since the day he took office. So now they just have the ultimate scapegoat, and they've been pointing to it. And like you said, Fox News' Peter Doocy is one of the few people that's been pushing back at those White House press conferences, saying things like gas prices had already increased by a lot before this whole Ukraine thing was even on the menu. So I think for people to sit and say, again, the American apologists or whatever you want to call them, like if we don't get our crap together and start building either nuclear power plants or start fracking or do both, to be honest, we are going to have an energy crisis like the world has never seen. And rather than America just sitting by the sidelines, paying money to other countries to do the work, to get the minerals, to get the materials, to get the fuel, America needs to roll up their sleeves and get back to work. Do it here and do it cheap and get people the energy they need.
I support that big time. Big time, buddy. Go ahead, sir.
No, I was just going to say, if we don't, I mean, even this crisis itself has only shown us what we've already known for a long time, which is energy independence is the ultimate security.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask you if you're following what's going on with the whole Biden-Iran potential deal. Have you heard anything about that?
That we're trying to get oil?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that they've
Doesn't that lift the sanctions that we have against them getting like uranium?
That's a great question. And I think that that's one of the things that everyone's so uneasy about, is the fact that, they were enriching uranium for a long time, and it's unclear how much they have, that it's unknown. But I think giving any of the Saudi Arabian countries any more weapons, any more nuclear anything, I think is just a recipe for disaster. I mean, we know that they've been fighting for thousands of years.
Yeah, I listened to Bibi Netanyahu earlier talking about it. He was just, I mean, of course he's biased, but he was talking, if you give those Ayatollahs nukes, they will flex.
Yep.
So it's terrifying reality that might be kind of created with this alliance, it sounds like. So I would like to learn a little bit more about that when we have time. I think it's something that might be relevant to all of our existences.
Right on. Any final thoughts? We got about a minute left.
Well, let me see. The markets are looking good on the crypto side of things. That's all I can keep saying is convert your money as fast as you can into Ethereum if you want to level up. There's a lot going on with the financial sector right now. I've been getting updates from my informants, but it's too much, too little time. So just look into MetaMask, look into Ethereum, start getting a garden ready. And yeah, have a great Monday.
Monday, indeed. Yeah, well, and again, I guess my white pill moment for this is that.
Oh yeah, the white pills. I like
white
that.
pill, get that out here. So I just going back to things we've touched on in the past, is that I think that people are still poised to make some big moves, like in your own life, you can go and get preps today. You can start that garden. You can buy those seeds. You don't have to go crazy. Go buy yourself a deck box. You know, they got these self-watering deck boxes that you can get yourself, set up, growing, and have actual edible food in the upcoming months. And it may not matter a whole lot to you today, but that information and just that mentality in your family of, you know what, I know we can't grow everything we need, but we can supplement what we have. So I think just having the attitude of we need to get back to what made America and Americans so incredibly proud and successful, which is taking care of ourselves and most importantly, our families in the next generation. So that hopefully when all this stuff blows over or does come to a conclusion, that America has learned some actual tangible lessons and can get back to what made us making America great without stealing someone's slogan. I mean, that's great America to me.
That sounds pretty racist to me, but
yeah, I know, right? But no, seriously, like it is one of those things that America used to be, like the place to get everything, and I think we need to get back to that mentality. So I guess my final thought is go out today. You can buy yourself a couple extra cans of food. You can make, recipes and whatnot, all things available on your desktop. So maybe have some things like gardening tips or whatever you need. Start printing stuff off in case the internet becomes restricted or something happens. You won't ever be sad that you had too many recipes or, too many cookbooks or whatever it is. So use this time to prepare, use it well, and we'll see you again tomorrow at 3:00.
Same time, same place.
Leprechaun out. Profits out.